Start with Why by Simon Sinek, Part 2. So now we know what the golden circle is. Organizations should have clarity of their why. They should have discipline in how and consistency in their what. Starting with why is just the beginning. For the golden circle to work, each of the pieces must be in balance and in the right order. With consistency, people will see and hear without a shadow of doubt what you believe in. This is called a celery test. Imagine you're having a party and everyone suggests that you get something that worked for them. So you go to the supermarket and get celery, rice milk, Oreos, M&M, breads, whatnot. But one thing's for sure, when you're standing in line at the supermarket with all of these items in your arms, nobody can see what you believe in. Of course, they'll know it's a party, but they will not know what you believe in. What if you knew your why? What if you knew that your why is to only do things that are healthy to your body? Always do the things that are good for your body. You'll get all the same good advice. The only difference is you will end up buying only rice, milk and celery. Those are the only products that makes sense to you. It's not the advice that isn't good. It's just not good for you. The advice doesn't fit. The more celery you buy and use, the more trust you earn from people. If you're more consistent with your why, people get more clarity about your why. Leaders need a following. The emergence of trust. Trust is a feeling, not a rational experience. We trust someone when we have a sense that another person is driven by things other than their own self-gain. With trust comes a sense of value. The reason that the human race has been so successful as a species is because of our ability to form culture. A culture with groups of people who come together with same set of values and beliefs. Now consider what a company is. A company is a culture, a group of people brought together around a common set of values and beliefs. It's not products or it's not services that bind a company together, it is the culture. The strong sense of beliefs and values that everyone from the CEO to receptionist all should share. So the logic flows. The goal is not to hire people who simply have a skill set you need. The goal is to hire people who believe in what you believe. Finding the people who believe in what you believe is the first step. Early in the 20th century, the English adventurer Ernest Shackleton set out to explore the Antarctic, the crossing of the continent via the southernmost tip of the earth. December 5th, 1914, Shackleton and his crew of 27 men set out for the journey on Endurance, a 350-ton ship. Just a few days out, the ship encountered mile after mile of packed ice. Ice closed in around the ship. Now Shackleton and his crew were stranded in the Antarctic for 10 whole months. As the Endurance drifted slowly north until the pressure of the ice floes finally crushed the ship. On November 21, 1915, the crew watched as the ship sank in the frigid waters of the Weddell Sea. Stranded on the ice, the crew of the Endurance boarded their 3 lifeboats and landed on a tiny land called Elephant Island. There, Shackleton left behind all of his men but 5 of them and embarked on a hazardous journey across 800 miles of rough sea to find help, which eventually they did. What makes the story of the Endurance so remarkable is not the expedition. However, it is that throughout the story, throughout the whole ordeal, no one died. There were no stories of people eating other people or no mutiny. This was not just luck. This was because Shackleton hired good fits. He found the right men for the job. When you fill an organization with good fits, those who believe what you believe, success just happens. And how did Shackleton find this amazing crew with a simple ad in London Times? Compare that to how we hire people. Like Shackleton, we run ads in the newspaper, monster.com, etc. We provide a list of qualifications and skills for the job and expect that the best candidate will be the one who meets those skills. The issue is how we write those ads. They're all about what and not about our why. Shackleton's ad was different. He did not say what he was looking for. His ad did not say anything of skills that is required for sailing and expedition. Rather, Shackleton was looking for those with something more. He was looking for a crew that belonged on such an expedition. His actual ad ran like this: men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return is doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. The only people who applied for the job were those who read the ad and thought it sounded great. They loved insurmountable odds. The only people who applied for the job were survivors. What all great leaders have in common is the ability to find good fits to join their organization. Those who believe what they believe and then build a system to find more of them. Give them a cathedral. In the story of two stonemasons, you ask the first mason, "Do you like your job?" He says, "Are you kidding me? Have you lifted these stones? It's so heavy. It's a monotonous job. How can someone like this?" 30 feet away, you walk to the other stonemason and ask the same question, "Do you like your job?" He says, "Are you kidding me? I'm building a cathedral. I know the stones are heavy, my job is monotonous, but this project might not even finish in my lifetime. It's hard work, but I'm building a cathedral. How great is that?" It's not such a stretch to see why the companies that we love to do business with are also the best employers. When people inside the company know why they come to work, people outside the company are vastly more likely to understand why the company is special. Give them their why. Give them their cathedral. So Simon knew what he was doing, but he had forgotten his why. He had passion and energy, but he had to remind himself of what inspired his passions. So when he looked back to his upbringing, he discovered a remarkable theme. Whether among friends of school or professionally, he was always the eternal optimist. He was the only one who inspired everyone to do and to believe that they could do whatever they wanted. This pattern was his why. To inspire, it didn't matter if he was doing it in marketing or consulting. To inspire is his why. His life stands as a megaphone for his belief. He talks about to anyone who meets, and those early adopters who used Simon as a tool in their arsenal to achieve their own success introduced him to others whom they believed Simon could inspire. And so the law of diffusion started to do its job. Law of diffusion explains the spread of ideas. According to the law of diffusion, mass market success can only be achieved after you penetrate 15% to 18% of the market. The goal of business then should not be to simply sell to anyone who wants your product, which is the majority. They are rationally driven by and they take decision based on motivation like price and promotion, and they don't become your followers, but rather to find people who believe in what you believe, the left side of that bell curve. They are the ones who will become your followers. How to rally those who believe? Energy excites. Charisma inspires. Bill Gates is shy and awkward, a social misfit. He does not fit the stereotype of the leader of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. He is not the most energetic public speaker. When Bill Gates speaks, however, people listen with bated breath. They hang on his every word. When Gates speaks, he doesn't rally a room, he inspires it. All great leaders have charisma because all great leaders have clarity of why and an undying belief in a purpose or cause bigger than themselves. All great why leaders need a how leader to take action. I have a dream, and he's got the plan. Dr. King said he had a dream and he inspired people to make his dream their own. But what Ralph Abernathy knew was what it would take to realize that dream, and he showed people how to do it. He gave the dream a structure. Dr. King spoke about the belief, and Dr. Abernathy would tell the audience following a rousing address by Dr. King, "Now, let me tell you what that means for tomorrow morning." For every great leader, for every why type, there is an inspired how type or a group of how types who take the intangible cause and build the infrastructure that gives it life. Those who know why need those who know how. In most cases, these two will be closely related. Walt Disney and Roy Disney were brothers. Bill Gates and Paul Allen went to high school together. Martin Luther King Jr. and Ralph Abernathy both preached in Birmingham. And Steve Jobs and Steve Woz were best friends in high school. The list goes on. Know your why and know your how. Then what? What? You have to consistently communicate your why through your what. Speak clearly and you shall be clearly understood. You remember the advertisement of Bajaj Motors, right? Hamara Bajaj. The commercial is one of the many things the company has done or said over the years to show or tell the outside world what they believe in. Janlal Bajaj was a freedom fighter and he believed in Indianism. And that was shown in the ad. That's why people formed culture around it. Ever notice that Apple's advertisement never shows groups enjoying their product, always individuals? Apple's Think Different campaign depicted individuals who thought differently. And when Apple tells us to think different, they are not just describing themselves. The ad showed pictures of Pablo Picasso and the likes. That communicates clearly that Apple thinks differently and people who buy their product also believe that they belong to that culture of thinking differently. The biggest challenge is success, being successful versus feeling successful. Financial success is achievement, but feeling successful is something more to that. 80% of the entrepreneurs realized the deep personal connection that existed between what they do and why they were doing it was missing, and that's why they never felt successful. Example, the first thing people did when they pulled out their laundry out of the dryer was to smell it. This was an amazing discovery. Feeling clean was more important to people than actually being clean. Feeling successful is very different from being successful or achieving success. Split happens. When the company is small, the founder will rely on his gut feeling to make all the major decisions. But when the founder is gone and it is taken over by their heir, there is no longer a cathedral to build. The school bus test is a simple metaphor. If a founder or leader of an organization were to be hit by a school bus, would the organization continue to thrive at the same pace without them? So many organizations are built on the force of a single personality that their departure can cause significant disruption. The challenge isn't to cling to the leader, it's to find effective ways to keep the founding vision alive forever. Good successions keep the why alive. The origins of why. Before it can gain any power or achieve any impact, an arrow must be pulled backwards 180 degrees away from the target. And that's also where a why drives its power, 180 degrees away from the target. The why does not come from looking ahead at what you want to achieve and figuring out an appropriate strategy to get there. It is not born out of any market research. It comes from looking from within, in the completely opposite direction from where you are right now. Finding why is a process of discovery and not invention. Like Simon, who went to his upbringing to discover his why, all of us have to go back to our upbringing to discover our why we are doing what we are doing. Ben Coleman is a cross-country runner. As with any race in a short period of time, the stronger ones will pull ahead and the weaker ones will start to fall behind. But not Ben Coleman. Ben was left behind as soon as the gun sounded. Ben's not the fastest runner. In fact, he's the slowest. He never won a race. He has cerebral palsy, you see. Now it gets very interesting. Something amazing happens after about 25 minutes of the race. When everyone else is done with their race, everyone comes back to run with Ben. Ben is the only runner who, when he falls, someone else will pick him up. Ben is the only runner when he finishes, has 100 people running behind him. Now pay very close attention to what follows. What Ben teaches us is special. When you compete against everyone else, no one wants to help you. But when you compete against yourself, to prove something about yourself, to believe in your why, everyone wants to help you. Olympic athletes never help each other. They are competitors. Ben starts every race with a clear sense of why he's running. He wants to better himself. Ben never loses sight of that. His sense of why he's running gives him the strength to keep going, to keep pushing, to keep getting up, and to do it again and again and again. Prior to starting with why, Simon had been invited to give one public speech in his whole life. Now he gets between 30 and 40 invitations per year all over the world. He has spoken at the Pentagon, to the Air Force. Prior to the Golden Circle and prior to starting with why, he had never been on television. In fewer than 2 years, he started getting regular invitation from MSNBC. Simon says he's the same person. He knows the same things. The only difference is he starts with his why. Imagine if every organization started with why. Decisions would be simpler, loyalties would be greater, trust would be the common currency, and if our leaders were diligent about starting with why, optimism would reign and innovation would thrive. And together, we can change the world. And that's pretty inspiring, isn't it? So that was Start with Why for all of you. Do not forget to comment, subscribe, and like. I need your support. Love you all. Hearty thanks, and see you soon with the next great book. Thank you.